Welcome to Hot Fire Takes on Front Street. Let's begin. Baseball, baseball. Have you seen my baseball? Why, yes, Warren, I have seen your baseball. I've also seen your sister's date defy all physics and violate all human anatomy with his zipper. Now that was entertaining. That was a moment in pop culture. That had some run. You know what I'm talking about. There's something about Mary. Anyway, back to Major League, folks. Sorry for getting distracted. I just had to make a little jokey joke for the entry to get your attention. Do I have it? Okay, getting right into Major League Baseball. It's getting a little bit late, but you know what? I said, fuck it. Drew, get the content out. It doesn't matter. If it's good, if it's great, if it sucks, if it's a turd sandwich, be consistent, take action, provide the community with some content. So here I am, and it's 11 p.m. Okay, Major League Baseball. So I extended you an invitation to finally explain why I take my little digs every morning during the morning run. I'm very dismissive of baseball, a little tongue-in-cheek action, just kind of having fun, dogging it, trying to get a response. Ruffle some feathers a little bit, I don't know. But this is a phenomenon. I don't know if it's a phenomenon, but it has been a trend. It has been established, and it's in the sporting world. If you listen to sports radio, you've been hearing this on the national forefront for at least 10, close to 15 years. And here in Seattle, there's been a lot of displeasure and disdain, specifically in this region, on the sports radio, in the sports enthusiast community. Also in the baseball community, obviously, because this directly affects them. My argument is right here, and this is no original argument. I'm sure some of you have heard it before, but I'm going to rehash it because I'm going to keep doing it until they do something about it so I can like baseball again. Guys, I want to like baseball. I love baseball. I grew up watching Griffey, Buhner, both the Martinez's, Dan Wilson. You know the names. I want to like baseball so bad. I want to eat Cracker Jacks. I want to take a trip down memory lane. I want to do it during the summer. Yes, but I'm not going to pretty much sacrifice my first and only born for a hot dog or a Miller Lite. Okay? I'm just not going to do it. So, Seattle Mariners, regional problem. My issue with them, settling on mediocrity, peddling the ballpark experience for a quarter freaking century. You know how many AL West titles the Mariners have won since 2001, since they won 116 games and then went and did the most Seattle thing ever and didn't even make it to the World Series. They didn't even make it, I don't even make it out of the ALDS. Was it the ALC? Either way, they won 116 games and they didn't even make it. They didn't even win the pennant. So Seattle-like. Pathetic. What's more pathetic? Not spending any money on any bats to support the outstanding rotations you guys keep seeming to assemble. I'll give you this. You're doing a decent job in the farm system, but that's only going to get you so far. How so? I don't know. Ask Billy Bean. Ask the Oakland A's. I don't know. Why don't you look across the pond, across the Atlantic to Europe? Look at all their domestic football leagues. You got the Premier League. You got the La Liga in Spain. You got the Bundesliga in Germany. You got League One in France. You got Serie A in Italy. What am I missing here? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Eredivisie in Holland. Anyway, what do they call the Dutch Eredivisie or even the German Bundesliga, which are very top-heavy leagues? France's League One with PSG. They call them farmers leagues. Why do they call them farmers leagues? Because any talent that comes out of League One in France, the Bundesliga, any team other than Bayern Munich, okay, the Eredivisie, even the Portugal Premier League, they're all called farmers leagues because they sell them off to freaking Spain, England, or even Italy. Okay? Seattle Mariners, that model is proven internationally to not work. Okay? Billy Beane did it. Moneyball made a movie. Guess what else they got? Zero hardware. Spend some money on bats. Put some butts in seats. Let's see some cats go yard. Okay? I want to like baseball, man. Think I want to dog it every time I come on here? Yeah, I do. I want to get it out the way because it's so boring. I really don't want to talk about it. I just want to talk shit about it because talking shit is my favorite. Mariners, wise up, okay? We don't care about the regional fanfare. Give me some reasonably priced Cracker Jacks and Dusty Peanuts, a Pepsi that even when all the ice melts, it is still such sweet nectar. It kind of has that McDonald's Sprite effect. You know what I'm talking about? Nostalgia, America's pastime, synonymity between food items and a great game that you can just sit back and watch 3 hours. Yeah, I love that. But I want to see some dingers, okay? I don't want to see the league totally turn their back on their stars. And I want a hometown club that puts out a proper competitive product. Once they do that, I will fork out $10 for one beer. And then I'll get back to you about the product on the field and whether it is up to snuff. But I did make this commitment to myself. I will never go to another Mariners game until the Mariners win a playoff series. A CS or DS, I don't care. Just not the play-in. That'll bring me back to baseball. Spend some money on the bats, make some splash. Also, you spend some money on the bats, not only are you hopefully acutely at that moment in time, at that season, going to get some instant impact and production from that bat. 40 plus homers and whatever else the popular metrics are. 120 RBIs, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Aside from the bats and the runs driven in, and those sabermetrics, you're also starting to create a culture of an organization that likes to make it rain and pay athletes. Create a culture. How is nobody from college who's in their marketing department with Tom Staten or whatever his name is, how can nobody figure out anything creative or any new angles or approaches or ways to appeal or get back the fans that they lost? They are so thick. Okay? That's why I don't mess with baseball anymore. Overpriced, it's slow paced, it's not entertaining. They turned their back on their stars. Don't even get me started on Pete Rose. And I'll tell you about Pete Rose. I knew this from a wee young lad that when Pete Rose finally died, then Major League Baseball would consider voting him back, into the Hall of Fame. They just didn't want to let him enjoy the fruits of his labor. Okay? Major League Baseball and your Writers of America, you think you're so high and mighty, man. And that's why Dan Levitard exposed you guys and blew up your spot and talked about who voted for who. Because he knew how pathetic it was. He knew how outstanding, remarkable, an all-time generational ball player Pete Rose was. And you guys are so spiteful. You guys never even played the game on a competitive level. And you're going to determine who goes to the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame should be voted by their peers. Not the Baseball Writers of America, a bunch of wimps who never stepped on a ball field. Good God. Okay, you know what? There's a lot of other reasons why I don't like baseball. Baseball Writers of America. Do not get me started on them. That's another one for another day. You know what? Sports is just the gift that keeps on giving. It is the absolute best reality television programming. I have to think, shit, Drew, if you start this, what if you don't have a good idea one day? Or what if you get stuck? Dude, I can never get stuck on sports. Every morning I wake up, there's some new shit that happened. And I always look forward to those stranger than fiction. No, truth is stranger than fiction type stories. And there are an awful lot of those in the sporting world. Like I said, the greatest reality television programming of all time. Sports. Love it. Drama, all that, everything. Championships, dude, highs, lows, you get everything, man. So I'm going to keep bringing you content. I'm going to keep bringing the energy. I'm going to keep throwing shit at a wall, taking the kitchen sink approach and seeing if it sticks, okay? So that is the hot fire take on Front Street.